First, we had the nuclear arms race, countries which could build their own nuclear weapons despite knowing its impact. Today, we are in a new kind of arms race, not with nuclear warheads, but with artificial intelligence, a race which possibly not every country can enter. And Anthropic has just issued a warning. On June 4th, the Anthropic Institute, Anthropic's in-house policy and research arm, published a landmark report titled When AI Builds Itself, and urging competitors to either slow down or pause frontier AI development. The report documents something that most AI labs have quietly known for a while but never said this clearly. Agentic AI is now dramatically accelerating the development of AI, and that acceleration is compounding. Anthropic calls this trajectory where AI systems eventually become capable of fully designing and training their own successors without human involvement, recursive self-improvement. Although they are careful to say that we are not there yet, but their own internal numbers suggest that we are moving towards it, faster than any government, regulator, or international body is prepared for. Anthropic has urged for regulation, including a direct policy call. It would support a global slowdown or temporary pause in frontier AI development, but only if other major labs and governments agree simultaneously and verifiably. Without that coordination, a unilateral pause by Anthropic would simply hand the lead to whoever keeps building. To understand why this report matters, you need to understand what recursive self-improvement actually means and why it's different from what we have seen before. For most of AI's history, humans drove every step. Researchers designed experiments, engineers wrote code, and humans decided what to try next. AI was basically a tool, not a real participant in its own development. That seems to be changing rapidly. Anthropic lays out a clear progression. From 2021 to 2023, engineers worked like any other tech company, writing code themselves. Between 23 and 25, AI chatbots were helping generate short code snippets. In the next 2 years, AI agents were writing entire files and running code autonomously. And today, Anthropic's agents can work for hours on complex open-ended problems with a 76% success rate, up from near zero just a year ago. One example cited in the report was from April 2026, when Claude autonomously resolved over 800 bugs that were reducing a class of API errors. The engineer overseeing the task estimated a human would have taken 4 years to complete the same work. And not just coding, research too. Claude is now outperforming human researchers in specific tasks. In a benchmark where AI models optimize their own training code for speed, Claude Opus 4.6 achieved a 52x speed up. A skilled human researcher working 4 to 8 hours on the same task would achieve just 4x. That gap is staggering, and it is widening with every model release. So what really is Anthropic worried about? Well, it is concerned about a time when AI can not just implement research directions set by humans, but choose its own research directions, run its own experiments, and train its own successors. At that point, the speed of AI development is no longer governed by human capacity, but by the availability of computing power alone. And that is the extent of recursive self-improvement AI can really reach. Now, if it really gets out of control, we could face certain issues. The first problem is loss of oversight. Right now, humans review AI decisions, catch errors, and course correct. But if an AI is improving itself faster than humans can understand the changes it's making, faster than we can read, audit, or test, that oversight window closes. There's a possibility that we would be approving systems we no longer fully understand. Anthropic's own report notes that Claude written code already requires automated AI review because human engineers can't keep pace with the volume being generated. The second problem is goal misalignment at scale. Today's AI models occasionally produce outputs that are wrong or subtly biased, and humans catch most of it. But a self-improving AI that compounds even a small misalignment across thousands of iterations could drift far from what its original designers intended in ways that are difficult to detect until the damage is done. The third problem is economic disruption at a speed societies cannot absorb. Anthropic's data already shows that one engineer today working with AI is doing work of 8 from 2 years ago. If RSI accelerates this further, entire categories of skilled work, software engineering, research, data analysis, legal drafting could be automated not over decades as past technological shifts allowed, but within a few years. And the fourth And the most important and serious problem is the concentration of power. If RSI benefits only the few companies or governments that control the most advanced systems, the gap between those actors and everyone else becomes unsurmountable, both economically and geopolitically. Anthropic explicitly compares the challenge of a global AI pause to a nuclear arms control. AI training runs can be concealed, unlike verifying nuclear pause. But Anthropic isn't calling for a pause right now. They are calling for the world to build the infrastructure that would make a credible pause possible in the future. But most importantly, Anthropic is doing all of this while preparing for an IPO. Just 3 days before publishing this safety report, Anthropic filed confidentially for a US initial public offering. The company just closed a $65 billion funding round at $965 billion valuation. That makes it, for the first time, more valuable in private markets than OpenAI, its primary rival, and it is targeting a public listing as early as October 2026. Anthropic is simultaneously publishing a report warning the world about the existential risks of frontier AI and racing to go public at a near $1 trillion valuation, built on building that same frontier AI faster than anyone else. Now, either Anthropic is genuinely grappling with the problem it helped create, trying to be transparent about the risks while operating competitively, which is the charitable reading, or this is a sophisticated public positioning, a safety-first brand narrative that makes Anthropic look responsible just as it walks into public markets. Anthropic's report is in many ways a confession that technology that they are building is moving faster than the world's ability to govern it. It's a confession that AI is already writing most of its own code, already outperforming humans in specific research tasks, and already on a trajectory towards a point where humans may no longer be the primary drivers of AI development. The call for a coordinated global pause mechanism is important, but it is also a long shot. The United States, China, the European Union, none of these actors have demonstrated the level of mutual trust required for the kind of verification regime Anthropic is describing. What happens next remains to be seen. But what we are watching right now is a technology with the potential to be the most transformative and the most destabilizing in human history, built at full speed by companies that are simultaneously trying to warn us about it and profit from it.
The world moves fast. Power shifts, unexpected developments, changing alliances. Every day brings a new headline. But headlines are only the beginning. Because behind every story, there is context. There are consequences and there are questions worth asking. Find the answers, understand the story, take on the world. This is Hemkaur Saroya for First Post Vantage.